Hello students, welcome to Learner's Planet. Let us continue with the chapter Improvement in Food Resources. In the earlier session, I explained to you that how the improvement of crop production is done. So this improvement of crop is related to the variety, its production and the protection. So if these things are managed, the productivity of these components could be increased. Right. So in the last session, I explained that how the variety improvement program is followed. In today's session, let me continue, and today I will explain you how the production could be increased from the crop fields. This crop production is directly related to the inputs which are made by the farmers in the agriculture. In country like ours, that is India, there are three different types of farmers. And you know which type are they? Small farmers, marginal farmers, and progressive farmers. And this categorization is basically it depends upon the various factors. Which factors? Like the land holdings of the farmers, that what type of land the person is having, how much area is covered, then what is the quality of that particular land. And further, the next thing is the use of modern technology. Well, these farmers, what type of technologies they are using for their agriculture, like whether they are following the traditional or manual methods for the different purposes in the agriculture farms, or they are using the modern technology. Modern technology like tractors, high yielding seeds, then fertilizers or the manures, then irrigation system is developed or not, then the use of pesticides and so on. All these things are included in the modern technology or modern agricultural practices. Now, whether it is the use of modern technology or it is related to good land holding of the farmer, both these things are maintained if the financial condition of the person is good enough. So ultimately, a very short aspect is there that if the financial condition is good enough, the farmer can actually afford all these technologies and the different requirements related to the agricultural practices. So the input is going to be better. And if the input is good, definitely the output is going to be good enough, isn't it? But definitely the condition or in the developing countries, whether these practices are followed or not, all that depends upon the farmer's choice and his financial condition. However, nowadays government is also taking the steps forward, and they are providing the financial support to help these farmers. And of course, if such conditions or such things are set in a manner, then definitely the crop production could be increased. So in this session, I'm going to discuss about these crop production management or the practices which are followed to increase the crop production. In these modern practices or the modern technology, improvement of crop production is related to three different things. And what are those? They are soil quality, irrigation management, and the cropping pattern. So efforts are made with respect to these three things. And when these things are managed, definitely the production is increased. So if I am discussing about this soil quality, then quality of soil should be good. It should be it should be fertile, and it can support it should be it should be rich in the nutrients, isn't it? And if these qualities are present in the soil, then it can support the development or the growth of the plants. But if we are dependent on this natural composition, then we are lacking somewhere, isn't it? And yeah, if we are following these modern technology, then in this case the nutrient management programs are there which can help in enriching the soil. The soil quality can be improved. And in such type of management, what is done basically, those essential nutrients which are required for the growth of the plants, they are introduced in the soil, and that can be done by using the manures or the fertilizers. Fine. Besides this, the irrigation management is done, right? Naturally we are dependent upon the rainfall for the water, for the supply of water in the fields. But definitely in the modern technology, this is a drawback. We are not supposed to depend completely on the rainfall. If the rainfall is not proper, definitely the one should follow the artificial system also, and that includes the man-made systems like drip system, sprinklers, or the these water wells or the tube wells, and so on. Right. Next part is the cropping pattern, and this cropping pattern is actually the cultivation of crop in a land in the different patterns. Different patterns means what? In the same land, different types of crops are grown, either at the same time or in a particular cyclic manner. So if they are grown at the same time, the practice followed is known as the mixed cropping and the intercropping. And if it is done successively, then it is known as the crop rotation. So this is just a brief summary of the practices which are followed so as to improve the crop production. Now I will explain you each part in a detailed manner. So this nutrient management, it can be followed only if the person is aware of the basic requirement of the crop. See, nutrients, they are the essential components which are required for the growth and the normal functioning of the living organisms, whether it is plant or it is animals. These nutrients are essentially required so as to support the life of an organism and to carry out their normal functions. If we are discussing about the plants, you know what are these nutrients which are supporting the life of these plants? You know, there are 16 nutrients which are essentially required for the survival or the plant growth. Fine. And from where these nutrients are supplied? These are supplied by the air, water, and the soil. So all these 16 nutrients are provided by the nature to the plants, but definitely their concentration varies from one place to the another. Right. I'm not saying about the air and the water, because air, it is of course supplying the oxygen and the carbon, and that is definitely having a particular proportion in the air. It may vary because of the pollution or different man-made activities, but definitely it is going to be present over there, isn't it? Then regarding the hydrogen, it is supplied by the water or through the water. Right. And definitely if we are discussing about the water, this element is definitely present over there. Now the next part is the soil. Out of 16, 3 are supplied through the air and the water. Now there are remaining 13 nutrients which are supplied by the soil. Out of these nutrients, the 13 nutrients, some are required in high concentration and some are required in the less concentration. So depending upon the concentration which is required by the plant for the growth, they are classified as the macronutrients and the micronutrients. Macronutrients, they are nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and sulfur. So these 6 macronutrients, they are provided by the soil. Right. Now comes the micronutrients, which are again supplied by the soil, in the less concentration. So that is the iron, manganese, boron, zinc, cobalt, molybdenum, and chlorine. So these 13 nutrients are supplied by the soil. Now it is not like that if it is required in high or in the less concentration, then the concentration of these elements will be accordingly in the soil. No, it is not like that. Whatever amount is required, that will be absorbed from the soil by the plants. So the requirement is more or less, and on that this classification is done. Well, now I'm sorry. The thing is that what this large quantity or the less quantity actually means. You are studying these terms macro and micronutrients since long. You must be you have studied in the junior classes also, but exactly which concentration is considered as high concentration or low concentration in case of plants or any other organism. So now let me show you, or let me tell you that thing. So these macronutrients which are required in the larger quantity, what is meant by this thing is that it is like 1000 parts per million or mg 1000 mg per kg of dry plant tissue. This is how it is related. That means this much concentration of a particular nutrient is required by the plants. Now it is in relation with which thing? Per kg of dry plant tissue. So this is how the large quantity is defined here for macronutrients. And of course, as I have already told you that which elements are coming in this category, they are as follows, as is shown here in the chart. That is nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium and sulfur. Then is the micronutrients, and they are required in traces. Traces means what? It is 1 part million. 1 part million, that means it is 1 mg per kg of dry plant tissue. And the examples are like as we have discussed earlier already, like zinc, cobalt, molybdenum, chlorine and so on. Now all these elements, they are of course supporting the physiological process of the plants. It supports the reproduction, growth and it develops a resistance power in the plants too. So this is how it is supporting the life of the plants. And if there is a deficiency of these particular nutrients, then they can actually affect the different types of processes and the plants may become more susceptible to the diseases. So this is why the nutrients are really required. Now as we know this requirement of the plant, now the thing is that how can we manage the soil quality, isn't it? How we can manage this nutrient concentration in the soil. So of course the different types of plants are having different types of requirement, and accordingly the soil can be enriched with the different types of nutrients. So let us understand that how this soil enrichment can be done. So this enrichment of soil with nutrients can be done by adding the manure or the fertilizers in the soil. The manures, they are the organic compounds which are naturally prepared from the organic waste in the open area. Now of course this organic material which is prepared here, it is rich in these simple compounds which are essentially required for the growth of the plants. On the other hand, fertilizers, they are commercially prepared chemicals in the factories. So of course there are the advantages and disadvantages of both these things, and they are of different types depending upon the the product or the waste from which it is produced. I'm talking this about in relation with the manure, and for fertilizers it is like the content or the nutrient which is present in the particular product. So let us understand each type in short further. So first, let us discuss about the manure. Manure is defined as the organic matter which is obtained from the waste like animal excreta or the plant waste and so on. And such type of decomposed waste is added to the soil so as to increase its fertility. Such type of decomposed animal excreta or the plant waste, they are having the large quantities of the organic matter and they contain the small quantities of the inorganic matter. Now since these inorganic minerals or the inorganic nutrients, they are present in the less concentration, so the manure is to be added in the bulk amount to the soil so as to enrich it for the particular nutrient. For this decomposition or for such preparation, the different type of waste is actually used in this technique, and the problem is actually same, that it has to be used in bulk amount. The thing is that, see, if it is manure, there are both the things. There are the advantages as well as disadvantages of using the manure. So let me first explain these things and then I will explain you that what are the different types of manure. So here is the flowchart which is showing the advantages. Number one is that it is a source of nutrients. As I already said that it is not only supplying the inorganic material, but in addition to that it is also supplying the organic material. So even organic material is required, and this organic material which is present in the bulk amount, it is also helping in maintaining the soil structure. This high amount of this high amount of organic component, it actually increases the water holding capacity in the sandy soil. Besides this, it also prevents the water drainage in the clay soil. See, this sandy soil or clay soil, you must be knowing that they are having the different pore size, right? The spaces in between varies in the different types of soil, right? Besides that, the particle size, that also varies. So according to that, the water holding capacity is also varying. And when these manures are added to such type of soil, it provides the advantage in relation with the water drainage or the water holding capacity in different types of soil. Next thing is that it also helps it helps in improving the action of soil organisms. You must be aware of this thing that the different types of organisms are present in the soil. So if these manures are added over there, they are serving as the source of energy and this nourishment or the nutrition for these particular living organisms. And as these living organisms becomes activated, they are also producing the different types of excreta. They are also helping in improving the soil quality. Well, besides this, it is not only helping in the improvement of soil quality, but also it is required for another purposes. You know what are they? First of all, the investment is low, so it is a cheap source of nutrients. Second thing is that since it is made up of organic compounds, they are not having any chemicals over there. Synthetic chemicals are not there. So they are also helping in preventing the air pollution and the soil pollution, of course. Besides that, as it is providing the bulk over there, it is improving the water holding capacity in the soil. So on the other hand, it also prevents the soil erosion. So these are the advantages which are considered from the environmental point of view also. But you know that each coin has two sides. So of course these manures, they are also having some disadvantages. So this flowchart is briefly explaining the disadvantages of the manure. The very first point is that they are having the low nutrient content. See, initially I explained to you that the different types of macronutrients and micronutrients are required for the growth of the plants. So these inorganic compounds are present in the less concentration. So that is the first particular disadvantage of the manure. And if they are having the low concentration of these nutrients, inorganic nutrients, then they are required in the bulk quantity. Right, they are required in the large quantity. So this is one of the disadvantage. Second thing is that as they are required in the large quantity, it is very difficult to handle it, store it properly, and to transport to the particular site. So the this bulk quantity is, of course, it is providing the disadvantage from the transport and handling point of view. Besides that, the production rate is also very slow. It is dependent upon the decomposition of the waste material, and that is done either by the aerobic or anaerobic oxidation of the waste material. And sometimes if we are dependent on the natural methods also. So this is of course another particular disadvantage, that it is a time taking process, and it is sometimes it fails to fulfill the demand in the market in the required quantity, of course. Then next thing is that they are not providing the specific nutrient. Now what is this specific nutrient? This specific nutrient is related to a particular type of crop plant or the requirement for the particular nutrient. For example, if there is a requirement for the nitrogen in a particular field, then they are not specifically providing the particular required nutrient. So it is another disadvantage. Such disadvantages, they can be overcome by the use of fertilizers, but definitely the fertilizers on the other hand, they are again having some other disadvantages. So that we will discuss when we will go through the fertilizers. But prior to that, I will tell you that there are different types of manure. Despite of these particular disadvantages, manure is a good source of nutrient. It is considered as a good source of nutrient, and that is because it is it is eco-friendly. It is having friendly relation with the environment. So these different manures, they are actually classified on the basis of the type of waste which is used for the production of the manure, and the site or the way how it is produced. For example, it is farmyard manure, compost, vermicompost, and green manure. Right. In the case of farmyard manure, domestic or I can say like animal and plant waste is used. Right, in the open spaces. Similarly, in the composting, also domestic waste, including these plant and animal waste, they are used for the production. There is not a very big difference between the farmyard manure and the compost. There is only a little bit difference that we will discuss further. Vermicompost, it is the one in which the worms are used so as to convert the waste into the compost. Then comes the green manure, and this is of course a very good method. It is a very rich source of nutrients, and for this the particular type of crop is actually grown in a field, and then it is ploughed over there prior to growing the interested crop in that particular area. So these particular waste which is present over there, naturally they enrich the soil with the required content. Now I will explain you the each type in a very brief manner. So in the case of farmyard manure, it is actually produced by decomposing the mixture of excreta or the animal excreta with the urine of the farm animals. So these particular material, see, when the agricultural practices are followed, there is a livestock also. The animals like cows or the horse, goat, sheep, they are cultivated over there, isn't it? They are grown or developed over there. So these species, they are of course producing the excreta or the waste. So these particular type of waste, they are collected and they are stored in the pits. Not only these excreta or the urine, but also the leftover hay and the fodder, whatever is coming out from the farm animals shelter, all these things are together collected. They are allowed to store in the pits of about 1 meter depth, and they are allowed to get decomposed naturally. For this, of course, the microorganisms will start growing over there, and thus these are decomposed into the manure. They will simplify the organic material into the simpler form. Right. So in this way, the manure which is produced, it takes a time of about 4 to 5 months and is rich in the components like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Besides this, the other products are also present which are required for the plant growth. Here is this picture which is showing this farmyard compost. Right. So this is the pit, or this is the space where the excreta is collected along with the fodder or the leftover hays and all. Right. In short, it is a waste which is obtained from the shelter of these farm animals. Right. The next type is the compost. So this compost is actually prepared by the decomposition of farm waste. It is not only the animal excreta or the livestock excreta which is collected here, but besides that, the farm weeds, straws, sugarcane refuse, rotting vegetables, kitchen waste, crop stubbles, groundnut, rice husk, or kitchen waste, or in short, the domestic waste is also included in such type of decomposition practice. And of course, they are followed in the different ways. There are the pits which are prepared for such type of process, and the things are actually stored here, and then they are treated with the aerobic and the anaerobic microbes accordingly. And once these aerobic and anaerobic microbes they are started decomposing these material, the end product which is produced is rich in the different types of nutrients. And of course this method is known as composting. The product obtained is the compost. Well, the next type is the vermicompost. Well, this process of producing the vermicompost is known as the vermicomposting. You know what or how it is produced actually? In this case, the waste is the similar as we have discussed earlier. It is decomposed by using the different types of worms, like the red wigglers or the white worms, earthworms. These type of worms are used so as to decompose the waste material. And all these organisms, what basically they are doing? They are creating a heterogeneous mixture. They decompose the organic material. In fact, they actually feed upon this material. They inject this waste in their alimentary canal, and the process is taking place inside. And the excreta which is released out from their body is actually known as the vermicast or the vermicompost. This vermicast is also known by different names, and they are like humus, worm castings, or the worm manures, and so on. Now here is a picture. As you can see here, this is the waste which is mixed up with the earthworms, right? And of course in earlier classes also you have studied that the earthworms are the friends of the farmers, isn't it? So these particular friends or these earthworms, they actually help in the preparation of the vermicompost. This vermicompost is not only a rich source of nutrient, but besides that, it also helps in maintaining the moisture level in the soil. Thus, they are also serving as the soil conditioner. So these are the different types of manure. And the next which we are going to discuss is the most important one, and that is the green manure. Well, this green manure, it is a type of cover crop which is grown primarily in the particular area of land, right? See, initially what happens? The farmers, they are growing the particular type of crop in their land area, right? And then they are adding the manure from outside. They are mixing it with the soil, and accordingly they are increasing the soil fertility. But here, in this type of manure, what is basically done? A particular type of crop is selected and it is grown for a small period of time. And then it is ploughed over there itself, and this harvested material, whatever has been present, it just gets mixed up or it gets incorporated into the soil. So by this, in this way, this type of practice, it actually adds the extra nutrients and organic matter to the soil itself. So this is how this extra effort or the extra crop which is grown in a land can increase the fertility of the soil. Now definitely the type of content which has been increased in this particular soil, it depends upon the initial type of crop that has been used as the cover crop. So since it is obtained from these green plants itself, thus it is known as the green manure. And definitely it is a eco-friendly system. Now let me explain you the important advantages of using the green manure. Well, here the very first advantage is that let us assume if the leguminous green plants are used as a green manure, let us say for example like clovers or the vetch. So these leguminous green manures, they are having the nitrogen fixing symbiotic bacteria in the root nodules, right? So these bacteria which are present here in the root nodules, they help in fixing the atmospheric nitrogen, and this it is converted in a particular inorganic form that can be easily used up by the plants. Now these plants are not going to utilize these inorganic nitrogen substances because of initially it is grown and further it will be ploughed over there only. So the soil gets enriched with the nitrogen content. Next thing is that the green manure, as they are ploughed over there in the same land itself and the waste is not separated or removed from there, so it increases the percentage of the organic matter. and thus or I can say it increases the concentration of biomass in the soil. Now, if this organic matter or the biomass has increased in the soil, what type of advantages or the benefits you can assume now? It can help in improving the water retention capacity, or I can say it can help in the water holding capacity of the soil. It can provide better aeration, and it can actually maintain the soil structure. And thus it is of course a very good benefit which is provided by the green manures. Next is it depends on the type of root systems. There are the different types of green manures which are having the root systems which can grow deep into the soil. And if such type of root system is present, what advantage can you assume now? It can help in bringing up the nutrient resources which are unavailable to the shallow rooted crops. If the interested crop that we have to develop, we have to cultivate in the land, they are having short roots, then definitely they can absorb the material from the topsoil only, or from the upper part of the soil only. So these type of green manures having deep roots, they can help in bringing the nutrients which are present in the bottom layers of the soil, and thus they can enrich the soil with the nutrients for these shallow rooted crops. Then besides this, it can also suppress the wheat develop in the particular cultivated land, and also it can prevent the soil erosion. So the type of green manure which has been chosen, it can actually help in these type of functions also. Besides that, the green manure, they can actually serve as the forage for the pollinating the for the pollination process. In fact, I should say that they are serving as a forage for the insects that help in the transfer of the pollen grains in the flowers. So accordingly, the type of manures which are used here in these type of fields, it actually decides that what type of advantage the crop is going to get. Or in other terms, I can say that the type of crop that we have to develop in the particular field, on the basis of that, we can select the different types of green manures. Ultimate aim is to increase the fertility of the soil, and of course protecting the atmosphere from the environment, from the pollution. Well, this is all about the manures, and beside this manure, another way of soil enrichment is the use of the fertilizers. So that we are going to continue in the next session. So till then, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Goodbye.